Good afternoon, my dear brothers, sisters. Today is Saturday, October 20th, 2013. We are having our monthly mindfulness day. How are you? I hope that you enjoy your day so far, especially during the deep relaxation. Now you have learned how to practice deep relaxation, and you can practice when you are at night, when you sleeping time. In our practice center, the term that we use most of the day and most of the time is the term mindfulness. What does mindfulness mean? Mindfulness means when we able to aware deeply the present moment. Not only the positive feelings, not only the positive emotion, any kind of emotions, any kind of feelings, anything happen right in the present moment, we aware deeply. That's called mindfulness. We are mindful on the body and also the mind. Let's say when we are not feeling well, we are sick. We are also aware, I am sick. If any day that you are not happy with your partner, you are also aware you're not happy with your partner, and you honestly recognize that. Because only when you're able to recognize that, you're able to help yourself to taming your speech, taming your react, taming your behavior. Try to reduce, and then you will reduce. In that way, you will reduce the percentage of hurting the others and also hurting yourself. So mindfulness is very important. When someone asks us, are you mad at me? And if we do, we have to honest, yes, I'm not happy with you because you have said this, you have done this. We don't have to refuse. No, I'm not. You didn't do anything to make me get mad, to make me mad. But actually, we are. So mindfulness means we are aware the situation of this physical body and also our emotions, our feelings. We are mindful that our age is not as same as before. Our health is not as same as before. So when we understand that the health is not healthier as before, we will find something to appropriate, to fit with our age, with our health. 5 minutes ago, I'm okay. 5 minutes later, I feel not okay. So sometimes you lie down on bed, or you sit down quietly to recognize all your pain. Physical pain, mentally pain. We are very mindful on. We are aware. Another word for mindfulness, aware. Recognize. We recognize the present moment. We recognize what is called the present. We don't live for the past. But if we have thought about the past, we are also aware. I am thinking about the past. I am worrying for the future. I am in, a lot of anxiety. I am in the sorrow time. So mindfulness will help us to see everything happen. Everything come, pass. We do not try to refuse. We do not need to do anything to fight back. Or we do not need to do anything to sweep it away. Just recognize exactly as it is. do not do anything. First we recognize it, yeah. And then we will find the better way to deal with each situation. So mindfulness will help us to slowly and slowly recognize step by step. I am sick, so I will not go out if I do not wear warm. I am sick, I'm not feeling well, so I will not take this kind of food because I know it's not appropriate for my body right now. Sometimes I just work and I forgot to take water. And later on I feel so pain at my chest. And I recognize, for the whole morning I didn't drink enough water. So I will take few glasses of warm water and then it's released. So mindfulness always important and very useful if we're able to cultivate and practice. No matter we have aware or not, things will come and go like that. But if you're aware of it, it's much better. Let's say if you let your days, if you let today like that, the day will, slowly pass like that. But if we have mindfulness, we will appreciate each moment we live. Like today. We came here since 9 o'clock and now at 2:30. So time will fly like that. If we recognize it or not, time will fly the same. But if we recognize it, it's more meaningful. We'll live more meaningful. Some people, they come to the meal, they sit in front of the TV or with the newspaper. They eat, but they do not enjoy the food. They swallow the words, the reading, the watching along with the food. So they did not really taste the food. So at that moment, the food is already tasty. But the point is, we already mix some news in the paper, in the newspaper, and some news in the TV mixed together with the food. So the food is not as tasty as we supposed to taste. So if we have mindfulness, it's much better. Let's say if we have mindfulness, the way we live, the way we behave, much better. If you are mindful, you can recognize, today my friend is not as happy as usual. So I will be support by carefully watch out my words, my speech. When you come to the workplace, you also need to be mindful on your boss. Some days she is not happy, some days she's happy. And if she is not happy and you come to her and you talk as usual and you're in trouble. So mindfulness will help us to see clearly. It is very important. Yesterday I have mentioned, one day, usually our wife or our family member cook for us 3 dishes, 3 courses per meal. And today we come back home only 1 dish. Instead of complaining, how come only 1 dish today? Then why don't we mindful? Are you okay? Maybe they are not well, that's why they did not have much time, much health to prepare 3 dishes as usual. Why we focus to the food more than the person who cook? And the mindfulness will help us The way we ask, the way we pay attention is more meaningful. But usually we did not mindful enough. That's why we only focus to something is not necessary. The food and our family member, which are more important, then mindfulness will help us. Are you okay? And if one day we back home and we realize our family member is not okay, not well, feeling well, that's okay. I can grab something. Don't worry to cook. You can rest. But if we expect that person to go to the kitchen and cook as usual, that means we only focus for us, for the meal, for the food, but we never mindful on the others. Like if one day they're back home and they call back home and they say, honey, I got a car accident. And the mindful question, are you okay? Instead of ask, is the car okay? But we used to focus to the materialistic more than the person. And now you can see how important the mindful practice. When you are sitting meditation and you have a lot of pain, your knees, your back, your shoulder, wherever, you are aware, you know. My legs fall asleep now. I need to slowly remove my feet. So I will allow my body to sit a little bit better. So meditation means to sit quietly and mindful on your body and mind. If your body is not well, your body is in pain, you know it. You are aware it. And try to do something to support for your body. If something happened to your mind, something jump into the mind, we are also aware. Oh, this is one of the thinking, and it's not time yet. I will come back to revisit you later, but not now. Now is the time for me to follow my breath. Everything you think, it's related to you. But we have to aware, is this the time for that kind of thought come? Or we can think about that later. Revisit. So if something happened while we meditate, if something jump into our mind, we also know. And if something happened to the body, we also know. And usually we say, oh, I meditate in order to have some peace. But you sit there for 30 minutes with your body pain and you have no peace at all. So mindful on your body. If you have pain for your back, your shoulder, wherever, you can slowly and relax your legs and you can change your posture in order to make you feel better while you meditate. If not, the pain will bother you and you have no concentration. You cannot follow your breath anymore. You just focus to your painful. And because our mind wander a lot, so that's why sometimes we understand, we create some other ways for the meditator can practice easily. For instance, the guided meditation. I used to tap on the bell. Breathing in, aware of my body. Breathing out, aware of my breath. In, breathing in, aware of the body. Breathing out, aware of the breath, and I invite the bell. Sometimes they invite every 5 minutes with few sentences to help you to have the guidelines to follow. So this is one of the ways to help you to be mindful during your sitting time. Sometimes we think, sitting meditation is to clear everything off from your mind. And that is not correct. We are unable to clear off everything from our mind. We always have something to think. But usually, we think a lot. So now meditation will help us to see one thing only instead of a lot. So when we eat, we lift up the tofu. We know this is tofu. We eat deep fried eggplant. We know this is deep fried eggplant. So you also think, but only one thing. When you eat, you know you're eating. You know what you eat. You don't bring your anything else combined with the eating time. So you're also thinking, but thinking about the food, thinking about only your meal. When you do walking meditation, you also think, this is my left, this is my right. So when you're thinking left and right, you have no other thinking. Only left and right. Breathing in, breathing out, slowly and gently like that. And sometimes I aware people don't feel comfortable because they don't get used with the sound of the bell, because they quietly and the bell hit, Sometimes they a little bit panic. So I only tap gently on the bell instead of like this every 5 minutes. So you see that when I am doing the guiding meditation, I also aware. And I use the word aware instead of mindfulness. You can use awareness, mindfulness, recognizing, any term, they still the same meaning. Let's say why we practice. The fourth, mindfulness training, mindful on our speech. Because we know that in our daily communication, whether speaking and listening, I will practice aware when I speak. Awareness. Before I say something, I need to reflect on my words. Make sure my words bring comfortable happiness to others. Now I know that if I want to understand more, I need to sit down quietly and listen more. If I don't want to listen, I only want to talk, then I will block my knowledge, my understanding. Sometimes the more we listen, the more we understand. And sometimes we need to know that sitting, listening deeply doesn't mean you are waiting for your turn to talk. Sitting and listening just to understand, to open the heart, to understand. Sometimes I prepare something in my mind so I can share with the Sangha on Friday. And when I come out, I sit down, I meditate, and I look down, I see many beginners. And what I prepare in my head is not fit for them. So while I'm sitting there, I'm thinking another thing. So am I losing my meditation? No. I meditate on my audience. Because they are very new to the practice. What I prepare to share with them, they may not understand. So I change the topic. When I late for my flight, I will run instead of walk. And people will say, hey, you are a monk, you should walk rather than run. And running is not losing my mindfulness. I'm very mindful. I may late for my flight. So that's why I run. I run, but I know I'm running. I'm running for my purpose. Otherwise, I lose another ticket. I pay for another ticket. So when you practice mindfulness, it's very beautiful. Like, try to slow down. But sometimes you need to run. Run, but you know why you are running. You are mindful on your running. So that is what we call the flexibility. And you look at the Buddhist temple roof. When they build a temple, they do the curving roof. And the curving of the roof symbolizes for the flexible. The flexibility. Be flexible. Like today, after the Dharma talk, we supposed to have Dharma discussion and then touching the earth. And one of the sisters come to me and say, Thầy, can we change? Can we switch? We do touching the earth before we do discussion. Because most of the Sangha want to attend that before they leave. No problem. As long as we adapt the request of the practice from the Sangha. One of our Bodhisattva has 10 vows, 10 great vows. And the 9th vow means, I vow to adapt all living beings. I vow to adapt their request. Doesn't mean, hey, you need to cry, then that Bodhisattva will cry. I want you to laugh, then we laugh. No, we only adapt for those who have the mindful request. Say, Thầy, I want to vegetarian. Can you show me how to cook? I'm willing to show. But you say, Thầy, I am fishing every week. Can you teach me how to cook my fish? I will not answer your question. Because I'm encouraging you vegetarian. And now you're vegetarian, I'm willing to support. Sometimes you say, Thầy, I need that book to read. I will do everything in my power in order to get that book for you. Like one day I have a student call in and say, I'm researching Buddhism for my project. I need the book called The Buddha and His Teaching. I go to my bedroom and I try to search for that book. I know I have it. And finally I couldn't find it. And I will find a way to find another book for her. So that means we vow to adapt the requests of living beings, but only the positive request. I want fishing. Can you show me where to buy my equipment? I won't show you, even I know. So remember, we are mindful on our support. What is the right thing to support? In our practice, we have practiced the practicing called giving. But we have to know who to give, what to give, when to give, and why we give. Who, what, when, why. Thầy, I need some money for my casino, my gambling. I cannot do that. Oh, because you have loving kindness. People come and request, you need to give. I'm willing to give if you have no money for school, for food, for clothes, to help your family, but I cannot give you money for gambling. So compassionate must have insight along with your compassionate. Otherwise, people will take advantage on your compassionate. And that is the reason why we have the 3 phases Bodhisattva. Because Kuan Yin, Avalokita, symbolize for loving kindness. And because the loving kindness doesn't mean she has no insight. So loving kindness, but also with insight. That's why on the other hand, she holds the Prajna Paramita Sutra, the Insight Sutra. This morning we have chanted the Prajna Sutra. Prajna means insight, deep and high insight. And we also have the strongest in us. If we know that is right, and people forcing us to say that is not right, and we know I cannot say that, that is untrue, then I cannot say it different. So 3 phases. Loving kindness, but always have compassionate and the strongest, the solidity in us. So the Bodhisattva hold the willow branch. You see the front face, the willow branch, and the jar of holy water. Why the willow branch? Because the willow branch very flexible. If the wind blows to the left, the branch will also go to the left. But when the wind stops, go back to the original spot. The wind blows to the right, the branch will flow to the right. But after the wind stops, go back to where it is. Same thing. We flexible adapt ourselves in all situations. But we know exactly why we do it. Who, when, and why. If somebody is sick, they come to us and they ask for medication. Oh, you're still very young to take 2 pills. I am very mindful. I have loving kindness to give you medication, but I also have insight. I only give you 1 pill. And then 4 hours later, you take another one. Because your body cannot take that much dose. So loving kindness along with insight, understanding. And that can apply into our, daily relationship. In any kind of relationship, we need to have mindful on our relationship. If anything happens in the relationship, we are very mindful to face and to deal. not to run away, not to refuse the truth, but exactly recognize what is happening now. Sometimes during the relationship, we found we and that person have lot of difficulties. The way we think, the way we live. But because I love her, I love him, I will try to transform myself. And I will try also to transform him or her. I also need to sacrifice a lot, or sometimes I need to sacrifice some of my hobbies in order to, to come together. In the relationship, we always have sometimes to step back one step, and sometimes to move back, to move up one step. We need to understand us and to understand the others in order to keep the relationship. Not only to protect what is called our self. And in the relationship, in the love, there is no self. And if we still have the self in there, the relationship cannot open widely. And that person unable to come to us, and we also unable to come to that person. And if we try to come together, the relationship cannot last long, because we cannot handle each other. So allow yourself, understand yourself. What is this kind of love? Not only to please the moment we lose something. We come to this person not to fill up that hole, but we do come to this person because we have love. There are some couples, they stay together, they already together for quite long, but they still have a lot of difficulties. One day they come to me and I ask them, why don't each of you give yourself some time? You can stay away from each other for 1 month, so you have more time to sit down and reflect yourself. Do you need a family? And if you do need a family, you do need this person, then what can you do to keep this person? Because sometimes we just come together, we try to solve the problem, we try to cool each other down, but not that cool, and the flame continue to blow up and never safe. It's not safe at all. We just try to light up the flame and burn each other. Unless we sit down quietly and ask ourselves, what do you want? When you're angry, you don't want to see that person, you don't want to hear that person. Only when you have a spot for yourself. 1 week, 2 weeks, and then I'm missing him. I'm missing her. And I want to continue this relationship. And what's the problem? You can find the source, the root. So why we practice meditation and why we practice mindfulness? To see all kind of thing like that. So remember, mindfulness not only to see I am happy, I am in the pleasure time, not enough. But mindfulness will help us to see all matters. Negative, positive, difficulties, problems, everything. If you have the reflecting, and you have enough compassionate, and you have already built up your insight to see clearly what you need to do, and you will do your best to overcome all obstacles, all problems, or prevention. And that is the meaning of the three phases. And those are the three main practices and also in our daily life. This is not the philosophy, but this is the real practice. The real reality in our practice. Let's say I want to become a monk, to live a monastic life. First, to cultivate and practice for myself and share my practice to others. And in the past 20 years, I travel around. I have been helped a lot of people, and I can see my practice, my learning have helped me a lot and helped a lot of others. Because I have loving kindness, because I have insight to reflect, and because I have the practice, and I can see the truth already. Nothing can prevent me to continue my path. Of course, problems will come to us every day, one after one. You overcome one problem, another problem will come because life is moving up. It's like you are driving from here to Vancouver. From here to Jasper, no problem, only one way, 4 hours, straight. But when you turn to the Highway 5, a lot of curving, a lot of cliff, then you have mountains, and you have to be very careful to turn. Right? Life is like that. So we need to have this three phase of the Bodhisattva. That means the three practicing: compassionate, insight, and the strongest. The intent to be strong, to overcome. We have the ideal of serving, then nothing will prevent us. I have my high school friends. They're all Vietnamese, and now they successful in their life, their business, their job and everything. Now they get together to establish the foundation, the non-profit organization to help the poor children in poor countries. And they come to me one day and they invite me to join their opening for the group. And I was unable to attend. I already have a retreat in the state. But I told him, if you have worked together, individual, for a few years already, and now you all agree to come together as a group. And you know, when you have a group, different than before. In the past, each of you work individual. And because you have loving kindness, that's why you come together. But when you come together as a group, of course you will work together, bring things together, a lot of ideas together, but of course some will agree, some will disagree. But loving kindness and insight will look over all, will embrace all your obstacles, all your problems, that you can move on. And again, without mindfulness, nothing can be possible. Because we have mindfulness, that's why we know what we have reflect, why we have compassionate on this situation. And the mindfulness will create that two beautiful, strong foundation, and we can overcome our obstacle. Did you remember what we read this morning? the Avalokita, while moving in a deep course of perfect understanding, shed light on the 5 skandhas and found them equally empty. After this penetration, he overcame ill being. How can he overcome the ill being if he has no reflecting? All the 5 skandhas are equally empty. And because he informed these are totally empty, that's why his name Avalokita. Avalokita means liberation. If you have no liberation, you cannot see everything is empty. And if you cannot see everything empty, you are unable to be liberate. So the name and the practice is the same. If you have no freedom, you cannot reflect. If you have no reflect, you are unable to be free. This is what we call the co-supporting, coexistence. And because we are one with the universe, that's why we try to protect everything. We try to protect the environment, we protect the people. And that's it. Without mindfulness, there's nothing can be possible. Mindfulness will help us to reflect what is called form, what is called feelings, what is called perception, what is called mental formations and consciousness, the 5 skandhas. This body, form. We have the form. Short, tall, big, skinny. Every one of us, we have the form. But what happened to this form? They are not real. They change all the time. When you came here 7 years ago, you see Michael. And now the form of Michael changed. Now you see Devin. 2 years later, you will see Devin change. Or if you do not go to temple for a month, when you come back another month, next month you will see Devin change. Some of you met Thầy when I'm only 26, and I'm now 40. And my form changed. Because we reflect on the form, and we see everything will be changed. So that's why there's nothing to be suffer. But while it change, live with that. Use it meaningfully. And because we can inform the truth, why we suffer, we overcame ill being. Only one, meditate on the form. Now we meditate on the feelings. The feelings are also impermanent. When you first come to meditation hall this morning, so cold, I turned on the heat and now it's warm. The feeling changed. When you first meet one of the Sangha, she's lovely, he's lovely, but after a few conversations, I don't like him. Feeling change. So because we have informed, feeling change, feeling not permanent. So if one day that person come to us and say, I don't feel comfortable with you anymore. Oh really? Period. That's it. There was a Buddhist monk who lived in the village, and people really respect him. They call him Living Buddha. And one day there was a young lady in the village. She was pregnant, and she did not dare to declare who is the father of the baby. And the parents tried to forcing her to tell who is the father. She did not dare to tell. And, because she is forcing too much and she had no one to say, she said, oh, that's Buddhist monk in the temple. People come to blame him and call him, we will no longer call you the living Buddha. Now we call you idiot. He said, really? When the lady delivered the baby, she cannot keep the baby. She brought the baby and gave to the monk. The monk said, really? It's my boy? He take it. Few years later, she feel regret. She come back to the monk, she confess and she declare, the monk is not the father of the baby. People come and apologize him. He said, really? So we can learn, really. Why the monk can say, really? Because he understands the feelings are always change. The love always change. Why we love? Because we do not love with the heart. We only love with feelings. Oh, he's so kind. We feel he is kind, that's why we love. That's why we like. We did not inform any goodness from that person just by looking his surface. And we already inform he is kind. He is handsome. He is good. We do not love with the heart. We always love with the feelings. And remember, feelings never stay. And the Bodhisattva, Avalokita, liberation Bodhisattva, witness, inform, feelings are not real. He overcame ill being. And now the perception. I try to explain the 5 skandhas. Form, feeling, perception. Sometime at night, we walk into the kitchen or somewhere, we see the head. We scream, ghost. But when we turn on the light, oh, that's my head. That's our head reflect on the mirror. We step on the big string, we call the snake. But when we turn on the light, that's the string, the rope, not the snake. There was an apartment at 2 levels, and the one who stay on the top, the 4th level, he has a habit. Every day he back from work and he took out his shoe and he throw. And every time like that, it make noise, and one of the person downstairs underneath that room come upstairs and say, please tomorrow if you need to place your shoe, place them nice and neat, because every time you throw your shoes, the noise make me panic. And I tell you the truth, I have heart attack. So if I die because of your shoe, you're in trouble. So this 4th person apologized and promised tomorrow I will place my shoes nice and gentle. The next day he come back home, as usual, as habit, he throw the first shoe. And he recognized it. He got complaint yesterday. So now he gently placed his 2nd shoe down. An hour later, the lady downstairs, holding her heart, her chest, go up and knock on the door. Please throw another one, I'm waiting too long. The perception. I'm waiting too long for your 2nd shoe. You see the perception. In Vietnamese, there was a song about a love song. When I didn't see you yet, I imagine you are beautiful like a full moon. And I used to tease that. But when after I met you, disappointed. So remember, the one we meet on internet with our webcam is not the really one, the one we image. And a lot of problems happen. So the perception. When you live in a monastic life, and you think after you withdraw, your life will be like this, like that, and like that. But actually, there are a lot of difficulties, much, much more than a monastic life. Your perception. And how about mental formation? Mental formation means always moving, never stop. Let's say I want to make spaghetti first, and then what's happened? Let me check whether I have enough ground beef, whether I have mushroom, whether I have sauce. So moving. Since you are raise up the main point, what you want to do, and many other thoughts come after that. What we call mental formation and consciousness always depends on how you see, what you see. This is nice, this is not nice, this is good, this is not good. Just based on how you feel, how you see, but you cannot tell the truth of it. Oh, I already taste that kind of cake. It's sweet like sugar. We cannot describe the sweetness of that cake. We use something else to describe. It's sweet like sugar. It's sweet like chocolate. It's so sour like lemon, like vinegar, only like something else. But we're unable to describe the true taste of something. So because we have sinned, we have informed the 5 skandhas. That's why we can see everything is not real. They're only temporary there, and one day it changes. One day is quite long. We should say it changed all the time. And because we have seen that, that's why nothing can prevent, nothing can continue to suffer us anymore. If you justify, you say you like. If you do not justify, you say you don't like. And that's very normal in life. And if we're able to see that, we overcome all kind of ill beings. So today, what I share with you, mindfulness. The sound of the bell symbolizes for the sound of mindfulness. When you're in the sleep, we need to wake this up. And you see the bell vibrate. Am I answer all your questions? If you bow to the Bodhisattva with 3 faces like that, and this is my idea. When I feel that the three practicing, we need to apply, and each symbol on the Buddha's hand symbolize for our practice. The loving kindness with the willow branch, be flexible. The book she holds in her hand symbolizes for the wisdom. The J that she holds in her hand symbolizes for the confirmation, solidity, the strongest, the intent. If I see that is right, I will go ahead and do, no matter how difficulty I need to do. If I already love my loved one, then no matter what difficulty I have to go through, I will try to learn and to support. And remember, when you love someone, not only the positive in that person, not only the flower, but we also love the garbage. Because without the garbage, there's no compost. And no compost, no flower. And we have negatives, we also have positives. And if we are wise enough, we are kind enough, we will help that person to transform the negatives into the positive. And that is called the true love. Love with the heart. Do not love with the feelings. May you be well, happy, and enjoy your weekend. Have you ever seen this book, Touching the Earth? You can order this book. This is a good book too. This is one of the good books. And what I will use is, what is this book? This book is all the many paragraphs expressed our feelings, express our words that we want to speak up with the Buddha, with our loved one. And sometime in our life we need to say something out, but we're unable to find the person that we feel comfortable to share. And the Buddha is one of the beautiful person that we can share. So if you have any difficulties, you can open to that part that fit with your problems. You express that and you bow down 3 times in order to bring your heart into earth. Why we need to touch the earth? Because the earth strong, solid, and wide and deep. Only take refuge on earth. We will be stable. None of the things that we build, we have to build on earth. Earth symbolizes for heart, for mind. The mind is strong, deep, wide, solid. Touching the earth, find the strong, the foundation, the solidity to take refuge. In Buddhism, we have the tradition, bow deeply down and touch the earth. We are one with the earth. And you will see your heart start to open. Your mind start to open. And this is a beautiful book. Here, the intimate conversations with the Buddha. So after we practice, we can stretch out and we can just stand up and find yourself a spot anywhere you want. And I will read. You follow my words. And then I invite the bell. You bow down deeply. When you hear the sound of the bell invite, you bow down. And keep your touching the earth like that until you hear the tap to stand up. And we do that for 3 times. And this is the practice. Okay? So please, now you can enjoy the sound of the bell first before we stand up. Please join your hands together. You can close your eyes and follow my words. Nourishing love and understanding. Lord Buddha, you have taught me not to regret the past or lose myself in anxiety and fear about the future. Around me, I see many of us who are losing ourselves in our worries and fears. This anxiety stops us from being able to dwell peacefully and live deeply in the present moment. I have the right and the ability to make plans for the future, but it is not necessary to lose myself in my worries about it. In reality, I know that the future is made of the present moment. When I live in the present moment deeply, and I only think, speak, and do what can bring more understanding, love, peace, harmony, and freedom into the present situation, then I have already done everything that I can to lay the foundation for the bright future. The direction in which tomorrow's war will go, and whether my descendant will have a chance to live happily and freely or not, depends on how I live in the present moment. I ensure to a happy and peacefully future for my descendant to shall practice living simply, nourishing my heart and mind of understanding and love, and living in harmony with all those around me as true sisters, brothers in a spiritual family. If I continue to run after power, fame, riches, and authority, I shall not have time to live peacefully and freely. I shall also continue my exploit unnecessary the resources of our planet Earth, destroying the environment and bringing about strife and hatred in the world. This is not a positive way ahead for myself, for an environment, and for future generations. Lord Buddha, may I devote my life to nourishing a clear awareness of myself and my environment in every moment in order to continue your awakened way of looking and action in the world. This is my noble way of living. Touching the earth. Lord Buddha, my body, speech, and mind in perfect oneness, I touch the earth before you, who has fully realized, awakened, understanding, and action.